Oh, it's Monday morning. The boys are at school and the drop off is done. And for the first time in 10 days, nobody is asking me for anything. Not a thing. I can finally breathe. Last week was hard with the boys on school holiday. Honestly, it has been impossible to get anything done, especially this first episode. When they're home, it's like someone is permanently calling my name. Mom, 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 mom. I feel like all I do is cook, clean, shout, or referee. Sometimes I don't hear a peep from them for hours while they are busy gaming, and other times I can't even take a shit in peace. Let's be honest. Like, where are you? Mom, I'm having a poop. Mom. It's like, oh my God, isn't it just hectic as a mom? At least we have a few weeks until the round of holidays start again. I think it's like, what, 4 or 5 weeks? It's madness. Anyway, every weekday we hand our kids over to trusted figures, and I'm talking about teachers, bus drivers, coaches, and we just assume they're safe. But what happens when the monster is the trusted figure? Today, we are going back to the 1980s South Africa, to a case that proved the most dangerous predators don't always hide in the bushes. This one stood in the front of the classroom. This is the story of the Station Strangler. I grew up in South Africa, and I felt it was fitting to start with a case that hits me at my core. As a mom of 3 boys, this one actually makes me feel sick to my stomach. Today, we're heading to the Cape Flats township created by the apartheid government, a place where the mom radar had to work overtime because the system sure as fuck wasn't looking out for them. Mitchell's Plain, Cape Town. Young boys aged 9 to 13 were disappearing into the fynbos. The media called this monster the Station Strangler because he hunted on the platforms along the Cape Flat railway lines. He stalked the stations looking for kids traveling alone or just trying to come home from school. He lured them away from the bustle of the platform and into the silence of the dunes. Cape Town has some of the most magnificent sand dunes, so it's absolutely devastating that they were used as a murder ground. So these boys were found dead, face down in the Wolfgat Nature Reserve, hands tied behind their backs with their own shoelaces. Imagine the terror in that community. The parents were out there in this thick scrubland, frantically digging and shifting into the sands with their bare hands, praying, absolutely praying that they would not find what they were looking for. It doesn't happen often where you pray that you don't find what you're looking for. And every time the wind picked up in the sands in Mitchell's Plain, it felt like it was whispering the name of the missing. 22 boys. 22 boys were found over 8 years. They were not just murdered, they were posed in a sick, ritual way. To the apartheid era police, these children were just stats. But to that community, the dunes were a hunting ground where this monster was always one step ahead. When they finally made an arrest in 1994, it paralyzed the community. It wasn't a drifter, it was Norman Simons. He was a primary school teacher, a man who taught kids the same age as his victims. He was charming, he was highly intelligent, he spoke multiple languages. He was the guy you trusted with your kids. But when the mask slipped because of one brave little boy who managed to escape, he gave the police the description of a man in a very specific green tracksuit. And when the police searched Simon's home, they found that exact tracksuit, but they also found evidence of something even more depraved. Simons had been stalking the victims' families, watching them grieve from the shadows, and even attending the funerals of the boys he killed. I mean, what type of sick person does that? He used the very thing we tell our kids to respect: authority, education, older people. He used that to lead them to their deaths. He didn't just kill those boys, he weaponized the trust of an entire generation. So here's the super frustrating part that makes me so angry I could actually spit fire. Simons was only ever convicted of one of those 22 deaths, and that was the murder of 10-year-old Alroy van Rooyen. Why? Because Alroy's case was the only one where there was a witness who actually saw Simons with the boy near the dunes. For the other 21, the apartheid-era police work was an absolute fucking shambles. They hadn't preserved any of the DNA. It had been reported that many of the original case files were actually lost or destroyed during the country's political transition, meaning that those 21 families will likely never see justice. He was sentenced to life, but here's the thing that is, like, I can't even actually say. Norman, hold on to your tits for this. Norman was released on parole last year. He's 70 years old and he's back living in the community. I mean, really, my heart breaks for these families who they never got their day in court, and justice wasn't served. I don't care what anyone says. It was paused. It wasn't even paused. He just, I mean, come on. It's like he was a ghost that came back to life, and the system just opened the door for him, leaving 21 cold cases and a community that is still looking for answers. Right, so that was the story of the Station Strangler. If you want to find out more and go into major detail, we have that on our website. You can log on and have a look into all my research and my in-depth information and everything else that you see. So that was the story of the Station Strangler, Norman Simons. Absolutely horrific. So when it comes to your kids, look at the people in those trusted roles. Don't be paranoid, but don't be blind. Trust your gut. It's never wrong. That mom radar, it's never wrong. I'm Mrs. G. Keep your coffee hot, your vino chilled, hide the good snacks, and for the love of God, never trust a brown mark on your kids' undies. I will see you next Monday for our second episode of Mrs. G, Coffee, Kids and Crime.